Hello, everyone, and welcome to Introduction to Psychology. I'm Dr. Jessica Gomez. I will be your instructor this semester. This class is going to give just a pretty big picture overview of the field of psychology as a science. A lot of the topics we're covering, a lot of the modules that we're doing can be an entire semester course in themselves, and a lot of them are. So if we get to a week that you think I just loved what we talked about this week, email me and let me know, because there's a good chance that we offer a class at GCC where we spend an entire semester talking about what we talked about that week. Intro is fun because you get to do a little bit of everything in psychology. We talk about social psychology, we talk about personalities, we talk about disorders, we talk about research, we talk about development. We take it all and we bundle it into giving like a big picture overview of each area of the field. So here's how this class is going to work. I'll walk you through kind of week by week what we'll be doing. I'm not going to go topic by topic, but I'll walk you through kind of what your average week in this class is going to look like. And we'll go from there. So you're going to have a pretty set week to week format. I don't like there to be any surprises. I find that people tend to work best when they know what to expect. Every Wednesday night, you'll have a discussion board due. You'll give me your initial post. Now we're going to do something kind of different with the discussion boards in this class. I'm going to teach you how to use it's a free online website. It indexes all of the scholarly research journals, and you can ask it a question about anything, and it'll send you back results about what percentage of research says what about that. So for example, if you wanted to ask, do playing violent video games cause bullying behaviors in children, it'll send you back that like 74% of the research says yes, 20% says no, either 6% says the relationship is complicated or uncertain. And I absolutely just made those numbers up. Do not quote me on that. But you get the idea of what that's for. So what you're going to do each week in your discussion, I'm going to give you a prompt that you need to answer. But as part of answering that prompt, I'm wanting you to think through as you're reading the chapter each week of what is something I find interesting that relates to this topic. You're going to ask that on this app. It's called Consensus, or this website. You're going to ask the question, and then you're going to open each week's discussion board of my question that I asked Consensus about this topic was this, and now here's how that leads into this week's discussion. So the question that you ask the Consensus, you're not like boxed into that for your entire discussion board. It can just be a jumping off point, or it can end up being the central point of your discussion, just however you want to format it, as long as you include it. And there's a whole second instructional video about that and what I expect from that, and a tutorial video for how to use it, so you won't be lost. But the point of that is just to encourage critical thinking and engagement while you're reading, because you're going to need to be reading with the mindset of, I need to come up with a question that I'm interested in that relates to these topics at some point as I'm reading this chapter. So that's going to be your first thing each week. Wednesday night, you'll have discussion board due. You'll respond to 3 classmates on those discussion boards every Sunday. Now, I am not anti-AI whatsoever. I am anti-AI doing the thinking for you. So if you want to use AI for grammar checking, if you want to use Grammarly or Quillbot, or even putting it into Perplexity or Gemini and saying, help me clean up my writing, I have no problem with you doing that. However, each week there is going to be an AI use disclosure form where you are going to need to tell me that you did that. And I'm going to ask you to put, what did your post look like before AI corrected it? What did it look like after AI corrected it? And what did you learn from those corrections to make you a better writer? That way it doesn't just become like a mindless tool that you use. So any week that you've used AI, that does need to be filled out. If my AI checker that I have installed flags your post as this was AI generated and you haven't filled one of those out, we will be having a chat. So disclose it. I'm not against it. I am against you copy pasting the discussion prompt into an AI program and having it answer it for you, because that takes away all the critical thinking that's involved. So I spell that out very clearly on the course AI policy page. So anything you use, you're going to disclose it, and you'll know exactly kind of what your guardrails are for what is and is not allowed with that. So 3 discussion replies due by midnight on Sunday, and then if you've used AI of any form, that little AI form that'll be pinned in the module each week. The other thing you're going to do each week is there is going to be a quiz. They're always going to be multiple choice. They are going to use that proctoring software where you're locked into the browser and you can't have other pages open. And I have a video so I can see if you have the little quiz apps and you're doing this and having your phone answer it for you. Yes, I know about them. Please don't use them. The other part of your quizzes, though, some of the questions that you're going to have are, so each quiz is going to be worth points that week, right? And then you're also going to have to turn in handwritten notes on the chapters and lecture videos from that week. Now, the ones that are flagged as optional, you do not have to write notes about. But anything that is flagged as required reading or required viewing, you're going to need to include content from that in your handwritten notes, and you're going to upload that, and that's going to be half of your quiz score every week. So the benefit of that, if you're somebody sitting here thinking, we have a quiz in this class every week, I am a terrible quiz taker, I'm going to fail. Well, actually, half of your quiz points are going to come from your notes. So it gives you a really great head start at getting your quiz score where you want it to be for the week. So you'll upload those each week and you'll see clearly marked where to do them. They do need to be handwritten. I don't care about your handwriting. It does not need to be neat. It doesn't need to be tidy. It doesn't need to make sense to me as long as it makes sense to you. And it doesn't have to be like an outline. You can mind map, you can doodle, you can, whatever system works for you. You will be allowed to use those notes as you take your quiz that week. So the better your notes, the easier your quiz is going to be. You can also use any printouts that you want for your quiz. So if you want to print out textbook pages, that's fine. The textbook in this class is one of those open resource use textbooks. So you don't have a limit on how many pages you can print like some of the other publishers do. There's no fee for it. It's free. So yay for little victories in life because textbooks are obscenely expensive. So if there's a week that's gone by that you have not done a discussion post or taken a quiz or turned in notes, you've missed something because those are standard week to week. And then our final project in this class, you're going to get to be creative about something in psychology that you enjoy. You're going to do a creative problem solving project. You can find information about that all over Canvas, but there will be some checkpoints for that throughout the semester of, let me see a brainstorming worksheet, let me see an outline, just to kind of encourage you to be working on it throughout the semester. And those will be just kind of sporadic here and there. There's not a ton of them. I think there's a topic approval and a initial brainstorming worksheet. There might be an outline. I don't remember if we're doing that this semester or not. But either way, it's 2 or 3 little checkpoints. You'll write a paper summarizing the research that you used for your creative component, and then you'll turn in your creative component at the end of the semester. So those are your main components of the course, activities of the course. Sometimes the lecture videos will be me. Sometimes there will be other people from the department who have volunteered their expertise to put together a video on something within their field at an introductory level for us. So that will vary week to week. So if you see another face, it's not like an accident that's a link that's copied from another course. That is still for us. Contacting. If you need to get in touch with me, my primary preferred method is that you use that Canvas messaging system. The reason for that is because our faculty spam filter takes its job incredibly seriously. And if you email me from anything other than your actual school email account, there is a good chance it is going straight to spam or it's getting flagged as something malicious. Even if it's a personal Gmail account or a work account or an iCloud account, it's still our spam filter is very enthusiastic about deciding that things are dangerous and protecting us. So just to save everybody a headache, it's easiest to use the Canvas messaging system. But if you prefer email, just make sure it's coming from that official school email address. I believe that is the majority of the things that we need to cover for just a basic introduction. As you work through the welcome module, make sure you view all of the pages. That'll be required to unlock module 1. And then also make sure that you're comfortable with what we're going to be doing with our discussion boards, with operating the consensus website and things like that. If anything seems odd or you're having a hard time finding where you need to go or what you're needing to copy or anything like that, just email me, let me know. I am happy to walk through it with you. I know as an intro level course, some of you in here might be first semester college students. Some of you might have been around for a long time and you've just never gotten around to taking intro psych before. And that's actually another thing I wanted to point out. I know as an intro class, not all of you are going to be psychology majors. We tend to get a lot of healthcare majors that this is one of their recommended electives, and just all across the college, different departments that allow this as an elective. So I know that I'm not talking to a classroom full of psychology students, and I try to construct the discussions in the class in a way that are open-ended enough that you can apply the psychology concepts to your field, your area of interest, your profession. So you are not going to offend me if you are a nursing student and every week you're taking the concepts that we talk about and apply them to nursing. Like, that's perfect. That's what I want you to do. You don't have to just wear a psychology hat for this course. Definitely apply it in a way that you're learning something from it that's meaningful to you. I believe that that is all I have for now. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to message me, and I am always happy to help. And I look forward to interacting with all of you soon.